Hey, what's up guys, it's ElasticSpyder here, and in today's video we are looking at a Fredrich the Grosse replay. In this replay, it features a lot of fun and intense combat, considering that by I mean Puddin. In this replay, we are featuring one of Puddin's replays. This is because he wanted to show off this pretty exciting replay, but he was unfortunately not able to record this due to some issues he was having. But so he asked me to record this, and I said I can, and I appreciate him giving me this replay because it was fun to watch when I first ran through it. So we're gonna be looking at this replay. In terms of captain skills, let's go over the captain skills right now. We've got priority targets, then we have adrenaline rush, superintendent, AFT, manual fire control for secondary armament, survivability, or basics of survivability, and finally jack of all trades. Looking at the modules, we are looking at main or auxiliary armaments, mod 1, then secondary battery, mod 2 I believe, or mod 1, then reload for the main battery, then damage control, another damage control, and then finally concealment. So Puddin realizes that he is the only tier 9 on his team, and there's another Iowa on the enemy team, so he says that he thinks that it's a good idea to go into Bravo, and typically you wouldn't want to do this, especially with a carrier in the game and knowing you are a Fredrich the Grosse. That's just because you don't have great AA, and the other thing is you are a big German battleship, which means a lot of people are going to be able to shoot at you. The good thing about big German battleships is that they are very tanky, and that they have insane secondary range. Like this Mayhan that's almost in secondary range, yeah, he can start taking some damage if he is spotted, so he has to be careful. And look at that, 9 people are looking at Puddin, and as I spoke about the Mayhan, he is starting to get shot at. So right there we had 3/4 of the enemy team looking at Puddin at once, and that's not including the carrier. So there's only 2 people that weren't looking at him. Or I'm sorry. Yeah, I think. I don't know, math. Either way, Kagero does a very nice play in the beginning and decides to smoke Puddin up. Again, good move by him. Good supporting team play. Puddin pops his plane to try and spot some guys, but unfortunately, they were not fond of getting spotted. Pops his heal, pops his damage control. I don't think he's too worried about torpedoes. Mayhan only has, I believe, like 7-kilometer torps. I could be wrong. Please correct me down in the comment section down below. But so he's not too worried about torps, but he does get some spotting on the enemy Mayhan by our Mayhan. So again, good play by our destroyers, helping out the team. He's just gonna sit here. I would do the same thing. He's most likely waiting for his damage control to come back. Again, you want to be doing this. You don't want to be out taking damage when your damage control is down, especially if you get 2 or 3 fires. But since the smoke is running out, he is going to have to move. The enemy Mayhan gets killed from our Mayhan, and the rest of our team that went to C and is already collapsing on Bravo. Good positioning so far from our team. Not much else I can say there. Looks like this game was not played during the weekend for obvious reasons. The other thing I would like to mention is going back a little bit on the decision making behind going into B. Most people would think that it is not a good decision to go into B as a battleship, and that's a nice citadel as well as a full 20k salvo. Nice shot there by Puddin. But going back to the decision making again, what is an Iowa going to do to you? Yes, he can brawl, but you're a better brawler. You can, you've got basically 2 Nurembergs that shoot a lot of HE, and you've got a very nice heal. You've got, I think Puddin is running the, he is running the upgraded guns, so he has, instead of 406, they are 420 or 419 mil. So he does have slightly better penetration, but again, he can negate that by angling and such, but still, an Iowa really doesn't have any chance against a Fredrich the Grosse if Puddin stays within his secondary range. He can charge him and then just turn around and kite like he's doing right now, and have no problem going toe-to-toe with an Iowa, especially when you have, I believe, 5,000 more hit points than an Iowa does. So, looks like compliments were given to the Kutuzov, or possibly the Kagero earlier that was giving him smoke. I assume that it was for the Kagero, but let's see, Blazing Coupon. Yep, it was the Kagero. But either way, Puddin's gonna try and regen health and kind of stay somewhat in the back. Again, you want to keep your Tier 9 British battleships as healthy as possible, but not keep them so isolated that they are just sniping from the back, because as a top tier you want to be going in, being aggressive, and pushing your weight around. Because again, we're looking at tier 7s, and you have ships like on the enemy team, for example, New Orleans is pretty squishy at times. Kutuzov is pretty squishy. Charles Martel pretty squishy. So, and then even Nelson is very, very squishy for a battleship. So you really need to push your weight around, and consider you can go up against things like Pensacola's and Miyokos that aren't necessarily known for taking a lot of damage and sustaining that impact that they are receiving. You really do need to push your weight around, and that's one thing that is nice about the German battleships that you don't necessarily get with the other lines like American battleships or Japanese battleships. So, Puddin's healed up. He can't heal anymore unless he takes some more damage, so he figures, what are the odds? Don't tell me the odds, rather. And I'm going to push into B. Kutuzov smoking up, got his shells out right before Kutuzov went undetected. Let's see if we can't get a Citadel. 2 hits, 1 bounce. I didn't catch how much damage, but considering it was 2 full pens, I would assume that it is around 8.5, 9k damage. Kiev gets spotted here, and we're going to be popping Hydro pretty soon. There we go. I believe Kiev torps after the destroyers, Soviet destroyer split, are about 8 kilometers now. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comment section. 2 over pens lends to a good amount of damage on him. Secondaries are starting to shoot at him, as well as Kutuzov is spamming us. But it's okay because we got our damage control up, and our repair party is coming back pretty soon, so we aren't too worried. We also have an Alabama right next to us, and maybe this Mayhem can smoke 1 or 2 of us. Iowa gets spotted, is showing broadside, but Puddin holds his fire, waits for him to possibly run aground, which he does, and that Iowa's lowered Citadel really helped him out here. Let's see if we can't help him out with a Citadel and send him to the bottom of the ocean. This version screws us again, so not a very good salvo at the end between dispersion and of course the lowered Citadel. It does become very frustrating when you look at it that way in this German battleship. That's part of the reason why I ended up switching from a full secondary to a partial secondary build and only running the AFT and what is it, the manual fire control for secondary armaments. because I just found that the dispersion was too bad most of the time. Kutuzov gets spotted, as well as the Charles Martel. Again, secondaries are going to be firing at him, and you know you're screwed in a Kutuzov when a Fredrich de Grossa, a battleship, is starting more fires than you are, and almost citadeling you there. If you aimed a little bit lower, I think Puddin, he might have gotten him. Maybe it was probably due to lag, which we will just assume that one. Kutuzov is down. Again, secondaries are still nailing this turret, however. We're just going to go on a range right there. Kiev gets spotted. We are going to shoot at him because shooting at destroyers, no matter what ship type you are, is always a good thing. I see a lot of players, and I've talked to other people that say this too, that just because you see a destroyer, like a Russian destroyer for example, and they are known for their speed, I'm not going to shoot at them because I know I'm going to miss anyway. But currently, in the current state of the game, shooting at destroyers is actually very useful because, especially in battleships, because you can get these nasty pens on them, which can do 4K, 5K, 6K. I've seen anywhere up to 8K sometimes, where a full health destroyer goes to about half or a third of its health just from one battleship shell, or maybe 2 battleship shells. So if you are wondering how to improve your game, shooting at destroyers is a good way to do that. Now, it doesn't seem like it'll do a lot in terms of like your average damage, because if you can see, if you can shoot a full health battleship and get maybe a citadel or 2, and shoot a full health destroyer and get maybe 4 or 5k on him, it doesn't seem like it's that good. But since XP is based in this game off of a percentage, that allows you to do the same amount of damage to a destroyer as you would as a battleship. Now the damage results are actually much different, but the way that the game calculates XP is the exact same. So just keep that in mind when you are selecting your targets, because if you just shoot at battleships all day, you won't necessarily help your team win, and chances are you'll have a lower win percentage, because destroyers tend to be very critical in the later stages of the game due to things like smoke and defensive fire and just overall cap contesting capabilities. Whereas a battleship, you get spotted a lot, you can get torped a lot, you can kind of get raided by carriers too. So in that respect, destroyers have a little bit better of an advantage in the late game. So just things to keep in mind. So Puddin did a nice job and try and shoot the destroyer as much as possible and get him killed. Hipper is on very low health. I should be seeing the Shikaku's planes head towards that Hipper pretty soon, if the Kutuzov can't kill him, because that Hipper is now out of Puddin's range. But I'm sure Puddin will be pushing back and trying to kill him. That Hipper is running out of space to maneuver. So pretty much got this in the bag. They've got a cruiser, a battleship, and a carrier left. It is a AS Shakaku. I know that because of the 3 fighters. But we're looking at 3 cruisers and Puddin, as well as our carrier. So again, the AS capability that the enemy carrier has is kind of negated due to the fact that we've got a lot of cruisers. So while our carrier can't strike as much per se, he can still be a nuisance to the enemy carrier and do things like spotting, just by hovering his planes around. And if he actually drops the bombs, he actually gains a speed boost, which if he keeps those bombers moving, and the enemy carrier's fighters will not be able to catch him, so he can obviously go and spot the enemy team for something like Puddin or something like the Kutuzov. But concerning we are on A, and these shells are coming in looking like they're about to kill the Nagato, which they are for a Citadel. The game is surely over. Alright guys, so looking at the screenshots here, not a lot of credits earned, only 300k, but 6,297 XP, Confederate Dreadnought, 130k damage, but it was all exciting, and we got 4 planes, 2 kills, 3 Citadels, and 67 secondary battery hits. We didn't get first place, but I think that was due to the fact that the Alabama might have had a lot more damage. But either way, I'm sure we did a lot of tanking, and at the end of the day, 1646 base XP is not that bad, considering how close the Alabama was. I figure he was probably around 150, 170k, something like that. So well played to him, but also well played to Puddin. Detailed report. Most of our damage was actually from our main battery, surprisingly, but the secondary battery landed where it counted, like getting that Mahan down low and getting the Iowa down low, as well as the Kutuzov. But potential damage fired away, 1.7 million. Pretty, I would say, about good to average in terms of potential damage for a tier 9 battleship. Tier 9 and 10 you should be around 1.5 nearly almost every game, unless you're playing on the defensive like kiting or something like that. Or just not getting shot at. That is the other thing. Damage received 107k, so about 30k above his total HP, so not bad. Used, I think, most of his heals except for one. So, and sneaky, he did get a dreadnought, which means he did not die. Yes, come on. Either way, credits and XP earned with the premium camo, saved a little bit of money. Walked away with 86k. Not too bad, but considering Puddin has something like 200 some million, I don't think he's worrying too much about credits at the moment. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this replay. If you did, leave a like, and if you aren't subscribed, consider subscribing and telling your friends to subscribe and telling everyone to subscribe if you guys like our content. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next video.